You know, we tend to think of AI as this one super smart solo genius. But what if the real breakthrough isn't making that soloist even better, but creating a whole orchestra? That's exactly what we're diving into today, this massive shift from single AI agents to collaborative teams that can solve problems that a lone AI just couldn't touch.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First up, we've got to get the basics down. What even is an AI agent? Then we'll explore why putting them on a team is such a game changer. We'll take a look under the hood at how they actually work together, see some real-world examples that are already out there, and finally, we'll peek into the future of AI collaboration.
All right, let's get into it. Because, hey, before you can appreciate the whole orchestra, you've got to understand the individual musicians, right?
And that musician, in our case, is the AI agent. But what does that term really mean? Is it just a fancy name for the AI we're already used to, or is it something fundamentally different?
So, an AI agent is a system that doesn't just sit there and wait for your command. It acts. It's not just responding, it's looking at its environment, it's making plans, and this is the key part, it takes action on its own to hit a specific goal. So think of it less like a tool you use and more like a delegate you can actually entrust with a whole task. And this is where it gets super clear. The big difference, the real game changer here, is autonomy. Think about it. A bot is just following a script. An assistant, like the one on your phone, it's pretty much waiting for you to tell it what to do. But an agent has the independence to figure out the how all by itself, tackling really complex, multi-step problems without you holding its hand.
Okay, so if one agent is that powerful and autonomous, why on earth would we need a whole team of them? Aren't we just making things way more complicated?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Some jobs are just too big. They're too complex for any one person or any one AI to handle alone. If you try to make one single agent do everything, a jack of all trades, it just gets spread too thin. It becomes a master of none, and things start to break down.
And that's why this team approach is just so incredibly powerful. You get specialization. Each agent is a total pro at its one specific thing. You get parallelism. Boom, multiple things are happening at the same time, which is way faster. The system is scalable, and it's way more robust. If one agent goes down, no big deal. The whole system doesn't just grind to a halt.
So, okay, you've got your all-star team of specialist agents. Awesome. But how do you get them to actually work together without tripping over each other? You need a playbook, right? Some rules of engagement.
You can actually think about these playbooks on a kind of spectrum. On one end, you've got these really simple, predictable chains. They're not very flexible, but you always know what you're going to get. And way over on the other end, you have these full-blown multi-agent systems. They're super powerful, super modular, but yeah, they're also a lot more complex to manage. These playbooks have a name. They're called orchestration patterns. And really, you can just think of them as different management styles for your AI team. Let's look at the two big ones. First up is a pattern that's going to feel super familiar. We call it the assembly line. And yeah, it works exactly like you'd imagine. A request comes in, Agent 1 does its thing, and then passes its work down the line to Agent 2. Agent 2 adds its own special touch, and so on until a finished product comes out at the end. It's incredibly efficient for any process that has clear step-by-step stages. But what happens when a problem isn't linear? When you don't need a step-by-step process, but you need a bunch of different expert opinions at the exact same time? Well, that's where our next pattern comes in, and it's a totally different ballgame from the assembly line. And that brings us to pattern number 2, the brainstorming session. Think of it like a big group chat for AIs.
The dynamic here is totally different. You've got multiple specialist agents all jumping into this shared conversation. There's a chat manager kind of playing moderator, making sure things stay on track. But the agents themselves, they can debate, they can build on each other's ideas, they can even challenge each other. It's fantastic for anything creative or for those maker-checker situations where one agent makes a proposal and another one comes in to validate it.
Okay, so this is all cool in theory, right? An assembly line, a brainstorming session, but is anyone actually using this stuff today? Let's take a look at a couple of real-world examples. Check this out, a perfect example of the assembly line pattern in a law firm. Imagine generating a legal contract. The first agent grabs the right template. The next one fills in all the custom details. A third one comes in and does a compliance check to make sure it follows all the rules. Every step builds on the last. It's methodical, it's thorough, and you get a rock-solid document every time.
And then you've got the expert panel in action at a financial firm. To evaluate a stock, you need different angles and you need them fast. So you have one agent analyzing the company's fundamentals, another one gauging market sentiment online, and a third looking at technical chart patterns, all at the same time. They all report back at once, giving a really complete picture for a super time-sensitive decision.
Okay, but let's hit the pause button for a second. This stuff sounds amazing, but it is not magic. Building these multi-agent systems is really, really hard. You're dealing with reliability. What if one agent just fails? And security. How do you make sure these agents aren't peeking at data they shouldn't be? Not to mention the sheer complexity of trying to debug a whole team of AIs. And maybe the biggest one, compounding errors. A tiny little mistake by the first agent can get blown up into a massive problem by the time it gets to the end of the line.
So, yeah, there are some serious challenges. But despite all that, where is this technology heading? What does the future of the AI team really look like?
Here's the big takeaway, the thing to really remember. The future of AI isn't just about building a single, smarter AI. The real revolution is about getting them to collaborate effectively as a team. We're moving beyond the lone genius and into the era of the high-performing team. We're unlocking a kind of collective intelligence where, truly, the whole is so much greater than the sum of its parts.
And that brings us to the final big question we have to ask ourselves. We can already see the potential in places like scientific research or building complex software. So as these AI teams get better and better at working together, it's not really a question of if they'll revolutionize entire industries, but which ones are next. That's the future that's coming, and it's one we need to be ready for.